Happy Halloween, everyone. As promised, in the spirit of the holiday this week, we will be putting Goku up against another kind of internet horror. Last week it was analog horror, and this week we'll be discussing the genre that came before it, and arguably created it, creepypastas. For those who don't know, creepypastas are generally associated with any form of horror story that found its origins on the internet. There is essentially no limit to what exists or what has been made into a creepypasta, and due to this, there are some creepypastas that are both far better and far more popular than others. Today, we'll be putting Goku up against some of the most iconic entities that have come out of these creepypasta stories. Can Goku beat Jeff the Killer? What about Slenderman or Sonic.exe? Let's find out. Though, small warning, we are dealing with things created on the internet over a decade ago. There's a bit of edginess and some cringiness involved here that still deserves a content warning. With that understood, let's get started. If you do like this kind of stuff, make sure to like and subscribe. Most people watching aren't subscribed, and we're trying to hit 50,000 subscribers before the end of the year. With that out of the way, let's jump right in. To begin, it's important to understand that canon barely exists for many creepypastas. While many of these stories do have original authors, there are oftentimes dozens of different interpretations, sequels, remakes, or reboots to classic creepypastas to make it so pretty much no one is talking about the same thing. For no better example, let's begin with Goku versus Sonic.exe. The character of Sonic.exe, aka X or Lord X, has dozens of different versions, all with their own backstory, design, and medium. There's the original story, fan games, even Friday Night Funkin' mods that all have slightly different lore and drastically different power scaling. Generally though, it involves an evil entity that for some reason really likes Sonic the Hedgehog and corrupts Sonic games in some way to mess with the people playing them. Despite there being so many different interpretations, the one with the most powerful version that I know about is actually the original creepypasta, as crazy as that sounds. In this original story, X is an extra-dimensional entity made of dark energy that is attempting to fully manifest within our world to take it over. Due to an unknown property, he is unable to fully manifest within our universe and can only do so in small, short amounts. So to do this, he haunts people using the Sonic.exe game. So right off the bat, outside of his own dimension, X is incredibly weak, as it takes him hours, if not days, to simply take control of a normal human, meaning he is literally no threat to any version of Goku. However, within his own universe, it's a much different story. He's described as omnipotent within his own realm, and the moment he figures out how to merge his dark universe with our universe, he will take it over entirely. It's also repeatedly implied he kinda has the limitless capacity to warp reality as he sees fit within his own universe. So with all these terms like limitless and extra-dimensional, does he beat Goku? Actually, no. Extra-dimensional is a term to mean any amount of dimensions beyond our third spatial dimension. In other words, making Sonic.exe either 4 or 5D in power. However, we see clearly that he does have limitations. A 5D being like himself would have no issue breaking into a lower dimensional universe. Furthermore, Goku is beyond baseline 5D, as he is low multiversal all the way back in Battle of Gods and has gotten many times stronger since then through higher forms alone, like Super Saiyan Blue and Mastered Ultra Instinct. Think of this fight like if Goku fought Kid Buu. Sure, Kid Buu has way more hacks abilities, but Goku is just so much stronger, it doesn't really matter. Still, for a first match, Creepypasta put up a really solid fight. Unfortunately, not many other famous creepypastas are all that strong. So let's do a quick lightning round of some of the more popular ones, quickly power scaling how strong, or rather not strong, they are. A lot of the most iconic creepypasta characters are all just edgy serial killers. You've got Jeff the Killer, Jane the Killer, Clockwork, Eyeless Jack, Laughing Jack, Nathan Nobody, just to name a few. Due to their nature as just basic slashers, they aren't very strong in the grand scheme of power scaling. All of them are capable of killing other people in brutal ways, obviously, but to call them superhuman in any capacity is kind of a stretch. Jeff the Killer is likely the strongest out of all of them, simply due to the fact that he's the most popular and has appeared in several crossover stories or series throughout the years. The main issue, though, is that when he crosses over with something like, say, Slenderman, he's he's fighting against a featless version of the character. So yeah, obviously Goku beats these guys. There's also a lot of haunted game creepypastas that suffer the same fate here, as unlike something like Sonic.exe, they don't actually have the whole eldritch god behind them and are just haunted by a normal ghost or something. Both Ben Drowned and Godzilla NES fall into this category, simply not being strong enough to both in and out of the game pose a real threat. Red from Godzilla NES is at least a bit better because he's like a demon and not a ghost, but never actually does anything strong besides the pixels on the screen, so that unfortunately goes nowhere. So is Sonic.exe the only strong creepypasta? No, and I've been saving the most obvious, most popular, and probably the most powerful, well-known creepypasta for last. The Slenderman. Just like all other creepypastas, Slenderman has dozens of different incarnations and iterations that change his scaling. You have the original pictures and stories, the games, web series, and even Hollywood movies that take drastically different interpretations of not just how strong Slenderman is, but who Slenderman is. In fact, a lot of his lore is intentionally vague and based around theories, but for the sake of this video, we'll consider all of them as legitimate just to be as comprehensive as possible about his potential scaling. The main theories of Slenderman can be divided into two groups, the scientific and the supernatural. The supernatural theories posit that Slenderman's nature is beyond science, while scientific theories posit that he's indeed a natural phenomenon, just one simply beyond our level of comprehension. For his scaling, it's actually the scientific theories that provide some of his best power. Most prominently are the quantum and fourth dimension theories of Slenderman, which posit that Slenderman is a higher dimensional being who moves along an axis of motion we humans simply cannot comprehend. Instead of teleporting as he appears to do for us, he simply exists omnipresently in a higher dimension and just appears in places we happen to look. Now, this might sound extreme for a tall guy who teleports around the woods, but the notion that Slenderman is at bare minimum universal is actually pretty consistent across several Slenderman stories. For example, in the ARG known as Angel's game, Slenderman causes something known as dimensional bleeding, a phenomenon that straight up causes entire universes to merge together, or in other words, doing exactly what Sonic.exe was trying to do casually and doing it multiple times. Another series that depicts Slenderman as bare minimum universal and higher dimensional is Tribe 12. It's explained that Slenderman empowers a group of proxies called the Collective, who are all individually beyond time and space and are baseline 4D. This scaling would be enough to take on any Goku before Battle of Gods, as by the end of the Buu Saga, he would also be sitting around that universal to universal plus tier, just like Slenderman. So does that mean Goku and Super can win? Well, maybe not. In the Slenderbloggins blog, the cosmology of the extended Slenderman mythos is described in great detail. We learn that there are 4 kinds of multiverse going from level 1 to level 4. Level 1 multiverse. Universes that simply exist outside of our universe, about 60 to 120 billion light years away. Level 2. Picture a bunch of level 1s in a bubble. The whole bubble is a level 2. For example, when the universe began, the expanding energy cooled down in the form of matter, little bubbles of matter that were these multiverses. Level 3. Here's where it gets confusing. Every time you make a choice, the idea is that a different universe is made where you make a different choice, exactly alike to yours except for that one little change. These work as layers in which the infinite amount of level 2s can come to exist into being. Level 4. This is a little easier to click. It's a multiverse where there's groups of level 2s, each group is a level 4. However, each level 4 has different multiversal laws than the others. For example, ours has 3 dimensions, another's might have 7. There's even larger bubbles in which the layers of level 3s are contained. The most important bit here is actually that last part. Level 4 multiverses do not have an upper cap in structural size in regards to the dimensionality, or they are at least higher than ours. Even with our own level 3 universes have an infinite universes with their own timelines. This is important because Slenderman can pass through these higher dimensional multiverses, and this is why he has the unique physiology that he does. In other words, it's taking the original higher dimensional theory, that he was simple 4D, and making it so he's at least 7th dimensional. In other words, despite Goku being so far beyond us in power and a multiverse buster, even if he got infinitely stronger multiple times over, he would still be haunted by Slenderman like everyone else, only ever able to interact with his shadow. That's just how much more complex Slenderman's power and multiverse is compared to Dragon Ball's. So yeah, Goku might solo Creepypasta until he comes across the Slenderman, unless he maybe collects 8 pages, that is. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Researching these characters from really old internet pages was kind of fun. There were definitely some stories and characters I didn't have a chance to get to, so maybe I'll cover them in the future. Either way, thank you to my members who got to see this video early, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Happy Halloween!